Hi everybody, it's Corvus Bruxo and you're watching Starting Out Solitary. And this week we're talking about one of my favorite topics ever, which is cemeteries. So, cemeteries. First, we should say that cemeteries are a magical place that's for granted, and that I don't know what I have with cemeteries since I was a very little child, but there's something there that really draws me towards them. And the thing is that we don't even have the pretty beautiful cemeteries that you have in the United States, or at least the ones that I've seen. Most of the cemeteries are actually indoors, that's the word. They're indoors and most people aren't buried. I don't know why. They're piled in niches. There are some of them in bigger cities and stuff, but where I live, the only cemetery that I have nearby is that way, and it's closed at night. And okay, first things first, cemeteries are a huge part of many magical traditions. Something that I have to disagree with Lippy, which, although I respect her view of course, is that I think that graveyards and cemeteries are a big part of many forms of magic. Many forms of witchcraft and magic in general are necromancy based, even if they don't call it that way. So yeah, it's a magical place. There are many dead people there. There are lots of energies there, and it's a very good place to get ingredients or to be in a special place to work your magic. Of course, I believe that you should be respectful with the dead, but if someone doesn't like something witchy, as Lippy Witch said, as far as you don't go to his or her tombstone directly, he or she would have to cope with the situation, because cemeteries, even if you're dead, is not your property. So I think it's for everyone, the living and the dead. It's a place of rest, of course, and you should not disturb them, but beyond that, I think it's your own business. My moral code is very easy, and it is applied to the living and to the dead. And if you're not bothered or offended in a repeated way, then you should not disturb anybody, living or dead. So it has an exception, and is when the dead sometimes may be bothering you in many ways, and you can communicate that spirit, that deceased person, to cease in his or her activity or their activity. And if they don't desist, then in my view, you have the right to go to his or her tombstone or grave or niche or whatever, bind that bitch up, because you're allowed to be free and not be molested in any way. You have the moral right to defend yourself and molest his grave or her grave. That's my view, of course. You don't have to share it, but that's something that I think should be applied to everybody. You are in a moral position to defend yourself if you're being attacked or bothered or whatever in any way. Okay, cemeteries. Cemeteries are a wonderful place for certain types of magic, namely necromancy especially is a very special place for necromancy. Respectfully, of course. if you have an open cemetery nearby, the trees and herbs that grow in cemetery are especially powerful, and I try to collect them because they're very special. To me, they're even more special than being in the wilderness. Me personally, I have performed deeds of magic in cemeteries, especially in the crossroads of the cemetery, because the cemetery that I have nearby, as I said, is an indoors cemetery, but it has like nice crossroads within it, in which I have performed spells. Personally, I haven't conjured the dead because I'm a little bit afraid of it, so it's something that I have on my to-do list for someday, for some needs, but I don't feel prepared yet, so it's something that I will leave there. Many people are scared of cemeteries, and I think that's not something to be afraid of, because the dead are dead unless you disturb them or conjure them or molest them in any way. There are dead people. They're not be bothering you in any way. And the living people that go there usually go to visit their loved ones, so they're usually not an issue in any way. But yeah, I love cemeteries. I love to collect herbs and how do you say that in English? Moss. I like to collect moss, let's call it that. I like to collect herbs and the fallen branches of trees. I like to perform spells in the crossroads of cemeteries and graveyards, and I haven't performed any kind of ritual or spell in someone's tombstone or place of rest, because I think it's disrespectful. So unless you have a very big urge or you're afraid of something and really need something that requires to do ritual work or spell work on someone's place of rest, you shouldn't do it. And that hasn't been my case, so I haven't so far. And yeah, pretty much that. Cemeteries are very powerful places, very mysterious and magical places in the emotional and aesthetical sense of the word, and they're a great place to collect material for spell work and to do spell work, but always respectfully. Please don't disturb the dead. It's even if they wouldn't respond or do something back to you if you disturb them, it's simply not being a dickhead about it. Don't disturb people that you don't know if they aren't molesting you in any way. So guys, my cell phone basically died off, so I couldn't say a couple of things left that I had to say, and I couldn't say goodbye. So I'm like hours later, quite more damaged than I was back then, but I'm gonna finish the video. I wanted to say that despite what I said about what I do and something that I also do, the most common practice at graveyards and cemeteries is collecting graveyard dirt, which is very useful for a various number of things, for protection, for hexing, for banishing. Sometimes some people use it for conjuring the dead. I think that's the most common practice, more than collecting other materials or even communicating or communing with the dead. But I haven't made a statistic. It's just an observance. And the other thing that I wanted to say is leave offerings. Please guys, beyond the respect to the dead, you're taking something out of a sacred place. Those places tend to require some respect more than your thought. So it's always a good idea to leave some offerings to the dead, to the place, to the Genus Loci, whatever. Whatever, but pay respect with more than your thought. Pay respect with your actions. Leave some offerings to the person you're taking dirt from, or to the person you want to commune with, or to the place if you're not doing anything with noted people there. But it's always a good idea. It's always a good idea. It's preventive and it's respectful. So yeah, basically that's all I needed to say. Now please share with us your views and opinions and experiences with cemeteries and cemetery magic, and let's learn from each other. Thanks for watching Starting Out Solitary, guys. You're amazing. May the gods and spirits watch over you all, and bye.